Hey Hyperizers, I've got some really exciting new updates to share with you today around Google Sheets. Now this is something that I know quite a few of you have I've talked to you about before in the past, having more flexibility around Google Sheets. As you're probably aware if you've used a Google Sheet already, once you've added data to a Google Sheet, you then reference the image using that sheet ID and row number. Now that's great for use cases where you're running an automation from that Google Sheet, from a YAM or a GMAS or from some other Zapier or whatever integration or automation. But if you then want to use that Google Sheet data somewhere else, you're then kind of having to, if you've supplemented that sheet with lots of other bits of useful data in terms of your reach out, you then have to update it or kind of download it and then import it, and it's kind of a bit of a faff, and sometimes it's not convenient to reference an image by the row number. So what we've done, I'm just going to jump over to this sheet here, just to kind of give you a little example. I've created a sheet here, got a business name, email, just some random data, and I've also put in a column here, quote, where I've just got some quotes for different people. So I might still be kind of sending this out via whatever email platform, maybe Mailshake or something, but I don't want to have to go into that platform and keep adding all these quotes in, because I might have like a VA or something just banging these in here as and when they find them. But I would still like to be able to use this data, in from this sheet directly, while still integrating my image, with another platform. So what we've done now is we've now enabled that. We've enabled us to create a lookup key for any column within our sheet, and then use that as the reference to pull the data from the sheet. So let me explain or show what that looks like. First of all, I'm going to do a standard Google Sheet integration as we normally would. So I'm going to copy the Google Sheet URL for our data sheet. I'll go over to Hyperize, go to integrations, and then click add. And I'm going to go to data sources, and I'm going to go to Google Sheets. Now what I'm going to do is choose new, I'm going to choose my account, and click next. I'm going to paste in the Google Sheet URL I've just copied, and click next. And now, as we would have before, we can map that data. So we've got the data sheet here, we've got the business name mapped, we've got email mapped, phone number, first name, last name mapped. So they've all mapped automatically because the names obviously match, gender all mapped. And then we've got this final one, quotes. So what I'm going to do is, obviously there's no standard one for quotes, I'm just going to map that to custom text one. That's custom text one. Now I'm going to do is scroll down, and this is the new part we'll see, select a column to use as a lookup key. So what I'm going to do now, I'm going to choose, in this case, email. So what that means is, now whenever I reference this image using email against the UTM Hyperef, all of this data will be available, irrespective of what platform or the integration I'm using. So I can now save that. I've got that image, and I can now preview. Let's just save that first. I should be able to preview this image. You see right now we're pulling it through, and we're actually referencing it row 2. Tim, a wise man, once said, sidelines, blah, 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 etc. And obviously we can change that, and we're going to see for each row. So in row 4, Bill, right, I said, and then we just put the quotes here from each individual user. Row 5, and you can see here also we're pulling through, in this case, Ariana, a wise woman, in this said, once said, etc. So we can do it that way, but also what we can do now, imagine we were just going to do a standard integration, so we're just going to go via our UTM Hyperef, so we can just view our image with Hyperef. In this case, what I'm going to do is tcook@apple.com. So now we're not referencing the sheet at all, but we're still able, using our UTM Hyperef and the value that we set the key on, which in this case was the email, we're now able to directly pull the data sheet, the data from the sheet, just using that key lookup. You can see here, if you change that to Ariana. So that's great, because now that we've got that philosophy, what means we can also now add in other integrations, for example, email platform or LinkedIn or whatever, and that core bit of data, that unique ID that we've set, that is also available in other platforms. So in this case, email would be, if you're using an email platform, you can use email. If you're using LinkedIn, it could be the profile URL you've got in a sheet, so it can bring in further data, etc. And that kind of gives you, a lot more flexibility in terms of being able to automate this whole process, pulling independent data from a Google Sheet while still using integration with another platform. In this case, we would just use the Mailshake one. What we would do is here, where we've got the key email, we would change that email for the UTM hyperref, our standard UTM underscore hyperref. So therefore pushing the email from Mailshake through to our key lookup and being able to expose further data, in this case, the custom text quote data from our Google Sheet. I hope that's been a clear enough explanation of this. And we have, of course, also created a help guide for this. I'll also add this video into here as well. But as you can see here, once you have selected a key, there's a guide here that shows you exactly the process we've just followed in terms of how to do that, how to get the key, etc. Also, if your Google Sheet is constantly being updated, or you're going to be adding more data to this after the fact, after you've kind of added as an integration, then we've also created a very simple webhook. So every time you change that data, it will automatically recompile the index, the lookup index, and enable you to do that. We've also got a sample sheet in here that you can download. I've got all that set up. So again, hopefully making it a little bit easier for you to get going. Appreciate your time on this video. Any questions, hit us up in the questions. Look forward to catching you on the next video.